because we talk a lot about how to keep you and your family safe. We want to make sure that we're talking about our furry family members as well. So, and by the way, you're seeing here imagery from that recent Texas rescue of animals that were actually impacted by the flooding. And there was a group out of Virginia that went to Texas, as you could see, loading those dogs up into planes and cats. And they basically brought them back to Virginia. So the shelter there in Texas did not have to deal with worries of overcrowding or how are we going to take care of these animals when it's tough enough to maybe even take care of ourselves because we're in the midst of a natural disaster. So we want to bring in Melissa Nicely, who's with Charlotte-Mecklenburg Animal Care and Control. Thanks so much for joining us here, Melissa. Good to see you again.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I mean, a really important topic. I feel like, every single year we are so thorough here at WCNC Charlotte about trying to make sure that folks know how to prepare for weather impacts. And we just want to make sure that the pets don't get lost in the mix because you don't want to be stuck last minute facing an emergency and being like, what am I going to do with my dog or my cat? Or in some cases, like my horse,
Exactly. All those are really great reminders that we just never know what the natural disaster could be. It could be localized flooding and flash flooding like we've seen a lot recently. It could be things like tornadoes. We also, look at the impact that we receive with a lot of the hurricanes and that sort of thing. So there's always things that could happen, and some of the things could happen very quickly, and some of them we may have a little bit of time to prepare. So it's always a good thing to think about quickly. Like if you're in a quick situation like we've heard of recently in the news where this flash flooding is giving people just very quickly trapping them and things like that. And so I made a list. I thought about all the things that I've talked about for over the years about pet preparedness. And for me personally, I took myself into consideration and I thought, what would I grab? What would I do? And honestly, and people feel free to judge me as we talk through the evening because I'm that crazy person that thinks about all the things that could go wrong.
No, we love that.
So I always do make sure that I have leashes and collars, different places in my house, because I have a 2-story house. So I make sure I have extra leashes upstairs in case of a house fire and I'd need to get outside or something like that and go out the window perhaps or something like that. So I do keep some upstairs and I keep some downstairs. But that's the one thing that you really want to make sure that you have handy, that you know where they are, is leashes, collars, harnesses for dogs. That way you can just grab them as quickly as you can, and that way you'll be able to control your animal no matter what the situation is. And then also it's great, you may not use your cat carrier very often, maybe that once a year trip to the vet for the shots, but make sure that you have a cat carrier for each cat. And make those, somewhere that, like on your exit plan out of the house, that you can grab those, whether maybe it's a coat closet. There's often a lot of coat closets that are right inside the entryway. That's a good place to put all your extra stuff. So those are things that I think for me, like if I'm having to leave in a hurry and I need to take my animals, those are the things that I'm going to need the most. If you have a little bit more time, and this is something you can do now, is medical records. They're very key because it shows the vaccinations that they have and also the rabies certificate. So what I like to tell everybody is make a copy of it so you can get them from your vet. If you don't have them with you and you can't find them, they can email them to you. Just call your vet. They can email them to you. Keep a copy in your glove box. That's a great place to keep a copy. Keep a copy of your microchip records as well, because that way you know the number. If you don't have a microchip, then we need to talk about that too, because you need to get a microchip. It is the best thing in emergency situations if your pet is lost from you to be able to get your pet back to you. But the other thing that's important to have is any medications that they might have. So as you're going out the door, think about, like, is your animal on a special medication that it would be a problem if it didn't get it every single day. So those are my tops, those are my top things. What I like to tell everybody too, and you're going to hear me say this a few times, put all of your paper medical records that you have, put them in a Ziploc freezer bag or whatever brand that you would like to
so it
use.
doesn't get wet.
So it doesn't get wet,
Yeah.
because oftentimes you're leaving and it's raining or it's flooding or those sorts of things, and that's going to keep everything nice and dry. I recommend to do that with the medications as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think about too, your recommendation about having the medical records, because, it's great to just have them in general, but I think about situations, for example, when I lived in Florida and we would cover hurricane after hurricane, there was always a question over, is the shelter that you might need to go to take cover, do they accept pets? And if so,
Right.
does the shelter require a proof of, hey, that your dog has been vaccinated against XYZ to be able to get into the shelter if you needed to?
And sometimes, depending on how they are, and I'm sure it's different in different states as well, because there's always different requirements in
Yeah.
different states. But the nice thing about it is that I know we have run shelters before where we take vaccines with us and we can vaccinate animals upon entry. But personally, I wouldn't want my animal, if it's already vaccinated, to get another set of vaccines. So just simply having that medical paperwork with you is going to save your pet from getting extra vaccines that it may not need. The other thing that I would recommend is store, because most of the time the vets will email you a record and it's in a format of a PDF. You can store that on your phone as well. And I
Yeah.
think it's a great place to store it because then you always have it no matter where you are.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that information will have not only your rabies certificate information, but it'll also have your microchip information on it as well with that number.
Yeah, it's really great advice. And I mean, we talk about all the time, prepare, don't wait till the last minute. And in the human context, I mean, we know what that means, but I think about as well, the fact that during, for example, Hurricane Helene, which of course everyone who, remembers here in the Carolinas and the impacts of that, one of the stories that we saw, one of the headlines we saw, down the road as pets were kind of turning up was the fact that there were a lot of pets that were actually lost during Helene because they ran away or whatnot. And our mountain communities, our high country, those shelters there or the rescues, whatever agency they had up there dealing with animals, like they got inundated
Yeah.
and they were overwhelmed. And so sometimes I feel like folks think, well, it's not going to happen to me. I don't really need to do this, but we see that it does happen. And when it does happen, it can be really serious, the consequences.
It really can. And the last thing that a lot of the shelters need is all these extra animals because they've already got animals there. And so that can cause a huge backup for space and that sort of thing. So that is why, we want to be prepared. We want to make sure they're wearing ID tags. We want to make sure that they're microchipped and that sort of thing. So if your pet does go missing, you can easily get reunited with your pet. But it is something to think about because even those shelters in all of the areas in Western North Carolina, a lot of them were getting flooded and a lot of them were getting displaced and things like that. So at that point in time, they're not even going to be able to help the pet owners because they're trying to help, themselves and save the animals that were in their shelters.
Yeah.
So anything that you can do ahead of time, I like to say have a grab and go bag, with a lot of supplies in there. And I love that you can use the, Google and easily just put what should I put in my pet supply bag and that sort of thing. And it's going to give you a nice list of things. But it's the same things we talked about, like put it in your coat closet. Just a little duffel bag or a backpack or something like that. And you'd be surprised at what you can fit in there. We always tell everybody that if you really want to get really prepared, especially during like hurricane season or whatever it might be that, may be affecting your area, is you want to have no less than 7 days supply of pet food. And water and things like that. And this is nice because this can also remind you things that you need to have as well as, like you're going to need some water on hand and that sort of thing. But extra leashes, extra collars, again, the copies of the medical reports. I like to put in there a flea and tick and heartworm pill, at least so you have one because you never know how long you're going to get displaced. And that's usually a once a month thing. Get your dry food, canned food. I recommend sticking a can opener in there because some pet foods you can open, but
Pop
some
top.
you need, right, some you need a can opener. So we talk about that. Kongs, toys, blankets, towels, especially if they have a blanket that has their scent on it because it's going to make them more comfortable. Paper towels, cleaning disinfectants, food and water bowls, and a litter pan. I put this in here because I think this is brilliant. They have disposable litter pans now, and the brand is called Cat's Pride, and it's called Cat Kit. And it literally is like a litter pan that has the litter already inside, and then you just open it up. And to me, that's a brilliant thing because you put that in your coat closet, with your bag and everything, and you just can grab that as well.
And it's kind of like easy in the sense of you're probably at that point dealing with a lot.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, just, literally in front of your eyes, that maybe that's just going to be the easiest solution for you.
Right.
Just open that and be done with it.
Right.
So I did want to mention this as well, because we had alluded to the fact that sometimes there are like special situations with other animals, like horses or birds and such. We have an article on our website that, we can have folks check out if you want more information on that front. I know because we were kind of dog and cat specific, but we know a lot of folks have dogs and cats. WCNC.com. And then when you go to our website, you can just search for pet hurricane preparedness, and you'll see one of our articles from, pre-hurricane season, where our team kind of put together kind of what you said, plus there's special considerations for maybe larger animals or birds. I wanted to make sure that we talked about, the fact that down the road, just in a couple days, we have, it's like dog selfie day, which I know it sounds silly because, we all take selfies with our dogs, from time to time,
Hundreds.
if you're a dog owner or your cat. But there's actually a real reason, a serious reason for this. And it kind of interlocks with what we've just been talking about.
It does, yes. This Saturday, the July the 26th, is National Dog Photography Day. So if you don't have anything that you're working on and stuff, make sure that you do this on Saturday. Is you want to take a picture and you want to do a selfie with your animal. And this isn't just for pet preparedness. This can be actually proof if your dog was stolen or something. It's going to show that you are the owner because you literally have the pet with you in the picture. So Saturday, take a bunch of selfies. Make sure that you have those on your phone stored somewhere. Send them to maybe some friends and that sort of thing, so there's extra copies in case you lose your phone or something. And that is going to be really come in handy if there was ever a case of like identification and they're going to say, well, can you prove that this is your dog, or prove that this is your cat or your lizard or your snake or whatever it might be. The other thing that is crucial is taking a picture of your pet from different angles, like maybe a picture of the face, a picture of the side of your pet, and then anything that's going to show specific markings. Because if for some reason in an emergency situation you lose your pet, or just in everyday life you lose your pet, you're going to want to use those pictures to make flyers. And you're going to want to make sure that you have most updated ones. And that's why I love this day on Saturday, because if you're someone unlike me or unlike Vanessa, who doesn't take pictures every day with their pets.
So many pictures. But anyways.
And you haven't updated a picture in 3 years of your cat Joe, then take a picture of Joe this weekend, because animals do change as they get older. Their features change, their colors change, their faces gray sometimes. And so it's really great to have a recent picture of your pet, so that if you ever are in a situation where you need to make a flyer because they're missing, I hope not, but if you do, you'll have some more recent pictures for people to help you identify your pet.
Yeah, great advice. Speaking of Joe the cat, we hear you have lots of Joe the cats.
We do.
At the shelter right now. Actually, you just put out an alert a couple moments ago.
We did. Yeah, it's been coming. We've been getting fuller and fuller with kittens and cats, and this afternoon was kind of the breaking point. One of our folks from the sheltering division came in my office and said, hey, can your team start putting out some alerts? We are full with cats and kittens. And so, of course, I had the miserable, horrible job of having to go get video and pictures of
cute.
All these amazing kittens. It's a terrible job to have. And I'm just telling you right now, if you are ready to adopt a cat or a kitten, we have so many. And the kittens, oh my.
Oh my,
so,
I can see, some of this video.
Cute.
We're showing it right now.
Oh my goodness. They're so cute. All colors, all sizes, all personalities.
Hugging.
Yeah.
Cuddling.
So cute. So right now, if you're looking to adopt, there's no better time. I love to say that you want to adopt 2 kittens, because it is so great to have cats that grow up together, and they're going to play with each other and not wake you up in the middle of the night.
Daylight saving time.
We do, exactly.
They have no idea.
Right
the
now,
time
just to
changed.
look at the numbers, we have 193 kittens at the shelter.
My.
We have 75 cats, and we have another whopping 359 cats/kittens, which is probably mostly kittens, in foster care.
Oh my God.
So that's a lot
Yeah.
of cats and kittens.
Yeah. You mentioned foster care. I mean, I have experience with fostering dogs. I'm kind of just curious, how different is it to foster a cat versus fostering a dog?
Sure. So you're very familiar with our foster program. I always like to let everybody know that we provide everything for you. So we'll provide a litter box, we'll provide supplies, litter, food, toys, whatever it takes. And we really have a lot of different fostering needs with kittens because we have a mom with kittens. So if you want to foster the mom and kittens, the mom does a lot of the work for you.
Oh, yeah.
We also, and I saw a really sweet mom that had 3 babies. And then we also have orphan kittens that doesn't have a mom and it's going to require you to bottle feed. It's a little bit more of a commitment because you have to feed every 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
But if you love the thought of bottle feeding little baby kittens and taking care of them and kind of being the mom, there's really nothing better to do. And again, we'll train you for that if you've never done it before. And we have all the supplies for that. And then if you're just like, I'd really don't have that time commitment, but I do have some, then we have the older kittens that basically are weaned off of the milk and they're eating food. They just need to gain weight and be socialized. And that's that little sort of 4 to 8 week old kittens where they're starting to play. And a lot of the video that I took in the pictures is probably that age. Most of them were eating food and they just have to reach a certain weight so that we can spay and neuter them. And it's a really fun assignment. And it actually would be great if you have your kids at home right now off school, because it would be a great experience for the kids too.
Yeah. A little life lesson, just how to take care of a pet, and it's super cute. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. I love this video. We're still, I'm looking at some of it rolling. There you go. I was kind of
Just going to roll this for the rest of the show.
There we go. That's the rest of the show, folks. Just so adorable. And we know that this is the time of year. I mean, y'all get not just cats, dogs. I mean, you're inundated. The summertime, this is the time. I know we got clear shelters coming up too.
We do. We're so
Just
excited.
a matter of
it
days.
It couldn't be a better time. You got NBC does such a great job with the event, completely. And we love working with you guys here at CNC. And the other thing is about it is they plan it at the perfect time that shelters really need it. Shelters are really full in July and August. So our big event is going to be on the 23rd. So we'll be doing special stuff all month, but our big adoption day is going to be on July 23rd.
Yeah.
I mean, August 23rd. Sorry.
August. Yeah. What is a month? It just goes by fast.
It does.
I can't believe it. We're almost to August, and I know y'all are so full. So, yeah, we've planted the seed now. Clear the Shelters is coming up. I know we've got a few spots that are going to start rolling out on our air on TV, reminding folks of that shortly. So, I hope the community comes out. I know it's been a tough go. I mean, I remember the period when I started volunteering with y'all. It was just after the pandemic, which I almost feel is like the golden age for shelters. Everyone was adopting at that time during the pandemic because they were staying at home and they felt like they wanted a companion. And then afterwards, it kind of backslid and then some, it feels
The bottom
like.
dropped out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you came at a time where you could actually walk through the kennels and there was tons of empty kennels. And just today I looked and we had 44 open dog kennels this morning, which was huge. I mean, as you know, that's a lot of space. When I left, we only had 25 open.
But that just goes to show how quickly dogs come in and out.
Exactly.
And in most cases, they're coming in.
Right.
People show up with lost dogs. You get your animal control officers dispatched to scenes. You never know if they're going to come back with 2 dogs or 20 dogs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anything you want to leave us with before we wrap things up here? Either about, we talked about a lot of topics, preparedness, cats. clear the shelters, anything.
I just think, if you have time and you have love in your heart, come and foster with us. And until you do it, you really just don't know the impact that you make. You literally are saving lives. And it feels so good and rewarding when you see that foster in a new home.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I agree in the sense that you kind of don't know how that's going to feel until you do it. And yes, it is sad to let them go. And folks will always ask me that, and I see other fosters get asked this all the time. How can you just love on this pet for days, weeks, maybe sometimes months, and then let them go? It's when you get the pictures of,
like on your
the
desk.
kids in the new family.
Yes.
The kids loving on the dog. This is my most favorite, thing in the whole world. We go everywhere together, and you're like, this is why
it was worth it.
Yeah. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
here
you
on
for
Live
having
Impact.
me.
We'll have you back again soon. Maybe run Clear the Shelters. Which
Yeah,
is
that sounds great.